I've made 2 videos now about Siri on the iPhone. Definitely check those out if you've not already. I'll link to them in the description of this video. But there are things that Siri can do that I didn't mention in those videos, plus a few new things that have been added in recent iOS updates. And so with that in mind, here are 10 things that you can do with Siri on the iPhone. Just so you know, I'm running iOS 16.2 for this video, so do ensure that you're running at least that version or a newer version. Okay, let's get into it. This is a feature that people have been requesting for a while now. You can use Siri to make a phone call. Nothing new there. You'd simply access your voice assistant and say call, and then whoever you want to call, and your phone will make the call for you. Great if you're trying to use your phone hands-free. The issue comes at the end of the call. If you're not able to physically press the disconnect call button, you're reliant on the person at the other end disconnecting the call for you, as Siri hasn't been able to end the call on your behalf. But now it can. Well, it can on an iPhone 11 or newer. Don't ask me why it's only available on those phones. Classic Apple, I guess. To do this, we first need to change a couple of settings. Head to Settings, then Siri and Search. First, you'll need to ensure that Listen for the Siri trigger phrase is toggled on, like I'm showing you here. And if you've not already set this up, you'll need to follow the steps to do so. This feature won't work without it. Then where it says call hang up, ensure that this is toggled on. This is off by default, and I could be wrong, but I think it's because this feature allows your phone to listen to you while you're on your call. Apple do put a notice here about that, and they do claim that all processing is handled within the phone itself. Nothing is sent to Apple, but probably worth you knowing about. When you're finished with your call, simply use the trigger phrase, which I'll write on screen now rather than say it, and then say hang up. Your phone will confirm that it's understood you and end the call. Restarting your iPhone every now and then is a really helpful method of keeping your iPhone working to its full potential, and it's generally very easy to do. But if you want a really quick and easy method of restarting your iPhone that doesn't involve weird button presses or having to root around in system settings, thanks to iOS 16, you can now have Siri do it for you. Simply activate Siri and say restart my iPhone. Your iPhone will give you a prompt asking you if you're sure you'd like to commit to a restart, but you can say yes rather than having to tap anything, meaning that the process is still just as quick and easy, and a moment or so later, your phone will restart. This one has been driving me crazy. You should, in my opinion, be able to use Siri to have it take a photo for you on either your front or rear camera without you having to push the shutter button. Siri should just do the entire thing for you. This would be great if you're trying to take a group selfie, for example, where you need to prop the phone up somewhere away from you. Problem is, if you use Siri and say take a photo, it just opens the camera app. You still have to push the button. There is a fix, and that's to use a Siri shortcut. Open the Shortcuts app on your phone, then tap on Gallery, and then in the search box type Say Cheese. Tap the little plus icon to add this shortcut to your personal shortcuts, then tap Cancel and return to your shortcuts. Tap the ellipsis here in the Say Cheese shortcut to configure it. Oh, and if shortcuts are a bit overwhelming to you, watch my Intro to Shortcuts video. I'll include a link to it in the description of this video. You can see that the first thing the shortcut is going to do is take a photo, and it's configured by default to do this with the back camera. In other words, the one on the back of your phone. You might want to leave this like it is, but if you'd prefer to use this for a selfie, change this to the front camera. I would recommend leaving Show Camera Preview toggled off. You can then see that once the photo has been taken, your phone will save it to your photo library in the Recents folder. Tap Done, and this Siri shortcut is now saved in your Shortcuts folder. The keyword here, of course, is Siri shortcut, because what you can now do is activate your voice assistant using the key phrase, and then you would say cheese, and your phone should recognize the command and run the shortcut, taking a photo and saving it to your photo library. If, when you run the command, you're prompted to allow your phone to save photos to your library, ensure that you choose Always Allow. Oh, I'd kick myself if I didn't mention this, even though it isn't Siri related. If you own an Apple Watch, you can skip all this by using your watch. Simply open the Camera Remote app, which is already installed on your watch, and not only can you capture a photo, you can access all of the camera settings from your watch, and even set a 3-second timer if you wish, giving you time to pose. You can use Siri to educate your phone about the relationships you have with other people. That may not sound especially useful, but let's say, for example, that you've got your mum or your wife or your brother stored in your phone by their actual name, rather than mum, wife, or brother. Letting Siri know about the relationship means that you can say things like, text my brother, and Siri will know who to text. The way to do this is thankfully extremely simple, and it actually involves you literally telling Siri. So here, for example, we've got a contact called Jane Doe, and let's say that she's my sister. I can access Siri and say Jane Doe is my sister. Siri will then ask you to confirm, which you'll then of course do, and the relationship is created. You can then use this contextually when you're dealing with Siri, saying something like send my sister a text message, and Siri will understand you. This works with family members, but it also works with certain work phrases like boss, for example. You can even use this contextual relationship to find out information. So if I had a date of birth down for my Jane Doe contact, I could ask something like, when's my sister's birthday? And Siri would be able to tell me. By the way, if you prefer to have content like this in a written format, there's a PDF to accompany this video, and you can access it by becoming a channel member, where for a small monthly fee, you'll get access to all video PDFs moving forward, plus the growing library of old ones. Just hit the join button on this video and follow the instructions. Whether you're dictating into an app or dictating a message or an email for Siri to send on your behalf, if you like including emojis, it can be frustrating to not be able to include them when working with Siri. Well, as of iOS 16, you can. The only catch is that you have to know what to call the emoji in order for this to work. Although if you head to this page on freecodecamp.org, they've got a list of all the emojis along with their names. I'll include a link to it in the description of this video. To make it work, just do the following. When dictating to Siri, simply mention the name of the emoji and say emoji at the end of it. So for example, I could start a text and say, see you later, waving hand emoji. And just like that, Siri will insert the exact emoji I asked for. Definitely check out the link for the full list of emoji names, as if you get it even slightly wrong, Siri won't know what to insert and will just insert whatever you're saying instead. A handy Siri tool to be aware of is the ability to use Siri to find out what Siri can do. This, I believe, is a new feature that arrived in iOS 16 and works by you asking the question, what can I do here, to Siri in any part of your iPhone. For example, when in the Messages app, you could ask, what can I do here? Or when in the Clock app, you could ask, what can I do here? A great tool if you're not that familiar with Siri and want to get a better understanding of everything that it can do. You can ask Siri for a personalized daily briefing by using the phrase, what's my update? Siri will give you a breakdown of what it believes is relevant to you based on a number of factors, and mainly around things that you've got coming up. For example, if you've got meetings in your calendar coming up, it will let you know about them. If you've got an appointment in your calendar with travel booked in, Siri might let you know about traffic conditions on the route. It may let you know about the weather in your local area for the next few hours and can even give you a local news update. The update will change all the time and of course vary based on what you've got going on, but it can be pretty helpful. By the way, if you're enjoying the content here, why not consider signing up to my newsletter, The Proper Weekly? I include some tech news from the week, a behind the scenes of what's happening here on the channel, as well as a tip for an item in the Apple ecosystem. The newsletter goes out each Friday, it's free to join, and I'll include a sign-up link in the description of this video. Have you ever been using Siri and speaking a command to it, only for it to cut you off halfway through what you're saying, and then of course get the entire command wrong? More often than not, this happens because you've paused while you're speaking, perhaps to think about what you want to say, and Siri interprets this brief pause as you've finished speaking. For many people it's fine, but you might find that you'd like Siri to be a little less impatient when you're speaking to it, and if that's the case, there is now a setting that you can change. Go to Settings, then Accessibility, then Siri, and under Siri Pause Time, you can leave it as the default, or you can set this to Longer or Longest. The longer you choose, the longer Siri will wait after you've finished speaking before it tries to action your command, so do play around with this and find a setting that you're happy with. Oh, one other setting to show you here. Just below the pause time, you've got the option to choose whether Siri should prefer spoken or silent responses. Basically, sometimes when you use Siri, your phone will speak a response to you. Other times, it will simply show you an answer on the screen, and it uses in-phone intelligence to establish which would be appropriate at the time. You can use this setting here to have Siri speak to you more frequently or less frequently, depending on what you prefer. I reckon this Siri function might be a bit of a love it or hate it, but when you compose a message using Siri, you can now skip the part where Siri confirms you definitely want to send the message prior to sending if you wish. This can of course be useful if you're firing off a lot of messages with Siri, and if you really trust Siri to get your message totally correct each time, or I guess if you don't care if it's not totally correct. The setting is in Settings, then Siri and Search, and then it's this option here, Automatically Send Messages. Tap into this option and toggle the function on. You can then specify whether this should happen on headphones and/or CarPlay. Now, when you compose a message to send to someone using Siri, you'll get a brief moment after you've dictated the message where Siri will wait to see if you'd like to amend it or cancel it, but otherwise, after a few seconds, Siri will automatically fire the message off to your chosen recipient. Siri uses its own machine learning to figure out how to pronounce names correctly, but let's be honest, with all of the names out there, it's bound to get some wrong from time to time. If this is an issue for you, you can correct Siri by providing it with a name that's written the way that it sounds. So here, for example, we've got a fake contact. This name is actually pronounced Aoife Siplikov, but Siri struggles with it. What I can do is I can open the contact up like we've got here on the screen, and then tap the edit button in the upper right of the screen. I'm going to scroll down until I see Add Field, and then tap on that. I'm then going to choose Pronunciation First Name and add that field in. The phone bounces us back to the main contact page, and we can then tap into the field that we just added and type in a pronunciation version of the name. You might need to experiment with this. You can see the way that I've written in Aoife for the first name. You'd then repeat the process for the last name if you need to, and once done, Siri should have no problems correctly pronouncing the name. So there you go, 10 more tips for getting the most out of Siri on your iPhone. Do check out my 2 other Siri videos if you haven't already for loads more Siri related tips and tricks. What do you think? Any Siri use cases that I've not included in any of these videos? Drop me a comment and let me know. And as ever, if you found this video useful, do please consider leaving me a like and subscribing to my channel for more content like this in the future. See you on the next video.